Good afternoon. This is a meeting of the Open Space Committee. It is now 2:30 and the date is the 19th.
Doesn't it usually say recording?
It did.
Oh, it
She
did, sorry.
come
Yes,
on.
it does.
She did say that. This meeting will be video recorded and broadcast over local access channel 8 and through the town website, www.eastham-ma.gov. All right, we'll do a roll call for quorum. Francis present.
Linda present.
Oh, Andrew present?
Yes.
Joanna, present.
Michelle present.
Karen present.
We started to have to do this when we were remote. And I don't know if we still have to do it now, but we obviously have.
But it's fun, so we do it
We
anyway.
do it anyway. And, before we begin the meeting, Andrew Shearer, the people here met him. Karen, have you met, Andrew?
We've met a few times.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
He's
Well,
on the committee.
welcome. This is his first meeting and we're looking forward to working with you, Andrew, and your perspectives on issues. I know, I did not hear from Alex, so I don't know.
Oh.
Or not. Okay, and then Karen, thank you for the information you've sent out, the conservation conference slides. And then information about the herring count, upcoming herring count. Some of us have been involved with that. And then I have one little note that I got a note from Bob Cook that he's out watching the salamander.
Yeah,
down on the
it's
boardwalk.
that first rainy night.
That first rainy night he
Um,
went and he had a good evening,
yeah.
I guess.
Yeah,
It's a little, cool, but anyway, that's happening on the boardwalk. If you
spotted salamanders.
spotted
and
salamander,
You could take this.
Spade foot toads, there's a few places.
yeah.
If you are out driving in the rain, which we hope nobody is.
How's that with
But if you
Bob?
are, watch the road and
Right.
look for Bob and Bob Prescott's cars, because they're always like moving them off the road.
They're always on the road.
Nauset Road is a big
Yeah, I just.
popular cross.
As I drive down Nauset to come to this meeting, that spot with the
Yeah.
pools on the other side.
Right,
I
right.
think
this-
that's where they
yeah,
wait.
Yeah, and then Kingsbury Beach, there's, I don't know about spotted salamanders, but between Herringbrook and the bay, there's that Tupelo swamp.
Yeah,
There's always amphibians moving across. There was a spadefoot toads when I went out with him a few years ago. There were a ton of them.
Yeah.
all over, right, crossing Kingsbury Beach
Yeah,
Road.
we moved 41 salamanders Monday night.
oh, you did?
Yeah, Bob
Yeah, so.
and keepers.
You were, yeah, the season's beginning, huh?
Yep,
Even though today
yeah,
felt like.
they're
winter.
on the move.
Yeah.
Spring this week. You,
Yeah.
do you know Alex?
Maybe.
Base.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, right. This is Andrew, he's our new member.
He's a
Oh.
conservation agent, so
Yeah,
town
he is our official person.
he's our.
All things. All right, okay, the minutes, we have 2 minutes to approve. And we have the January. Written by, is that you, Michelle? All right, are there any changes, additions, corrections? I thought they looked perfect. Okay, could I have a motion?
Motion to approve January minutes?
Second.
Second,
Okay, all in favor, yes?
Yes.
yes, aye.
Okay, so that would be,
Five.
we won't count Andrew since he wasn't here, so 2, 3, 4,
5.
5, 0. Okay, and then we have the February minutes. Hi, Karen. Are there any changes on that? Good.
Nope.
No, could I have a motion,
Looked good to
please?
me. So moved. Second.
Okay, all in favor, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
And opposed, no, so that's the same. Okay. Those were really excellently done, better than the AI ones.
Yes, for sure.
But
They're a
that's-
good, it's a good check to
It's
see.
interesting
it's
to read that
interesting to read
and then
them.
look at
Oh,
your
oh.
own notes.
Really,
Mine's a combination of my notes and
Yeah,
Chat
correct.
GPT looking at the transcript from the meeting
right,
and then my editing. So it's
right,
it's
yeah.
a decent tool
it's a tool.
to
But don't let
It's
it go
not an
free.
No, I know, exactly, right?
Okay,
I don't know. Mine is starting to praise me for my critical thinking when we have deep conversation.
yeah, I know. Okay,
Better be careful, Karen.
I know, it's very dangerous stuff.
OSRP, the meeting, and Michelle and Alex, could you,
There wasn't one.
there wasn't the March 11th? There was one I
No,
kind of missed. Oh, so you missed that
It's
one?
one March.
the Shayna one?
Yeah.
We didn't have one in
Oh,
March.
okay, so we're not, oh, that's what she's trying.
That's what she's trying to
Because that's
reschedule.
the one I couldn't go to.
Right,
Okay,
right. So that never materialized.
okay, so we're working
So,
on.
right, she's working on
Right,
another
it
one
was
for
the
April.
Early April.
Yeah,
You're
whenever,
moving.
whenever, okay, so.
So do you know what the OSRP is, the Open Space and Recreation Plan?
No, I don't.
It's something that
Yeah.
the state requests from every municipality every 5 years. Which our last one that was fully approved by the state was 2007. There was a really nice update done in 2015, but it never made the final thing, so. And it's it's a long document. Why do we, other than, I mean, some of it's very helpful, but if you apply, if you want to get some of the state grant money, that may be one of the things they require you have an up-to-date OSRP plan, so open space and recreation plan.
So there's a committee, Michelle and I representing open space, Alex, and then recreation, Christine Meadow. And Casarella.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So we've been, and Shayna Brogan has been leading it and doing
Great job.
the bulk of it. And
Yeah.
because it is massive, it's
it's,
couple hundred pages. And
Yeah.
it's a review of the community setting, the ecological setting, the historical,
Mhm.
geological setting, or some of that. We're just
Yeah.
moving forward, but we're updating the new.
the
information.
tables and the, you know, what's protected,
It's-
what's not
It's
protected.
amazing
Yeah,
document.
It's great. So, and it is actually the 2015 or 16 one that's not, it is on the website. Yeah, don't hit print.
It's like.
Good, that's good not to have a printer. But there you can, the tables and the maps are, you know, even though they're outdated, the ones that are up there are.
Yeah, this.
It's a good-
Good information.
Yeah, it's a lot of,
There's no question.
so, so we're working on that.
Okay, so that will be, the next schedule will be in April, whenever Shane
Mhm.
decides it works out. Okay, so you didn't work on the survey, because we were gonna
Right.
finalize the survey, okay.
Yeah.
And then the next thing is we're also doing a land management plan, Andrew, for Wiley Nickerson. That's a property that gets the most use in the town.
Yeah.
And there's been, user conflict issues, erosion issues, many different types of issues, so.
Mhm.
It was suggested we do a land management plan, so we have a forester, Tom Farrell. And we're waiting on his report. And,
But you guys
Do
did,
we
the
have
the walkthrough happened with him, right? Or the,
no, it hasn't come in yet. One thing, Andrew, is that the state staff is
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
stretched thin.
Yeah.
So when we asked, I mean, the man is, you know, they're all extremely competent, you know, energetic
Yeah.
people, but they take their.
they covered the
workload
whole
so
state.
broad.
Mhm.
So the last note I went to was, had to come back once to finish up some data and then. So Shayna, I ask her every month before the meeting for an update.
Yeah, I know she reached out yesterday for
Yeah,
an
she
update,
has to,
yeah.
but that's one thing, we've learned patience
Yeah.
in this committee.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat.
I-
Maybe
I
months,
don't
months,
have
it's
any.
just knowing get so much done
Yeah.
between.
Right,
Right.
right, okay, so that's the land management.
don't have any patience.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay. Now here's something that we do have some input on, okay, the Sandy Meadow, have you been up to Sandy Meadow walking?
No.
Do you know
No.
where it is?
Okay, you know,
No.
okay, sometime email me and we'll take a walk around.
Like
It's a
when the
fascinating
woodcocks
park.
start
I
doing their
tried to find the
display.
community garden as well, but there's no way to find it.
There
like,
is no
on-
community garden.
Well, that's the Orleans.
The
Putnam-
Orleans.
That's
We
Orleans.
sent them to the
Farms.
Orleans ones to look at
Oh,
that.
okay. I couldn't
Yeah.
even find that. There's
Yeah,
no
well-
signage to tell you where it is, and when you look
Um,
it up, it talks about
Putnam.
articles about no address.
Oh, no,
that
it's the
located.
turn before the courthouse.
It's the
Off the
Putnam
Rotary.
Farms.
You're coming in from the Orleans Rotary.
I don't drive often though, so
Right.
usually with someone by.
But
On the bike
yeah,
path.
But the bike path has no signage to tell you where it is.
Okay.
It's another outing.
Do
We'll do,
We could do a bike tour
Let's
of
do
all the
a,
properties.
I'll walk them to,
We've
we
done that
call it
before.
the Southeast Dam Conservation, and from there we can walk.
Yeah.
But okay,
Yeah.
This is in Northeastham, off
this
Aspen,
is off of.
near
oh,
Sunken
yes.
Meadow.
Yes, right. So
Yeah.
we're gonna talk
Yeah,
about this.
sorry.
We've been working on
Yep.
signage there. And there's two things we're working on there, signage and the ADA trail extension. So let's get the ADA trail extension done, off the agenda.
Off the agenda.
Yeah,
Right.
so we,
So I went
where
out,
are we?
we went out with Bob Cook. As you know, the state accepted his credentials for the botanical survey.
Yes.
And drum roll,
Yeah,
please.
I know, my dad was a lucky.
There's no prickly pear in our limit of work, which is good.
Yes,
Bob and I went out twice. As you know, we've got a 15-foot kind of corridor on each side of the trail where the limit of work for the project will be. And we did kind of a zigzag pattern. We flagged it out as a zigzag pattern. I'm looking for the prickly pear cactus. We went one direction one day, came back another day to the opposite direction. So pretty confident that there's no prickly pear. So Bob just got his report out to Devin, who's our contact at NHESP to review. I've got some supplemental documents I'm going to send them as well. As you know, we're coming up on our potential time of year restriction with the state. I talked to Devin and indicated that we'd certainly like to know if there's any flexibility in that, but we ultimately won't know until their review of the project is complete.
Mhm.
It's still kind of TBD.
But she did indicate when we talked that there might be some flexibility. It's the spade-foot toad issue.
Right.
Right. So I don't know if it's a little early maybe to be looking for spade-foot toads out there yet.
Yeah, I think it's still a little bit early. I mean,
But-
Bob's pretty confident that, there wouldn't necessarily be any issues with spadefoot toads, in our limit of work. It's not breeding habitat, but I mean, they could be burrowing there, who knows? But we'll see what the state says when they come back with their determination.
And that they still have 30 days to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
so. Well, fingers crossed it can happen in early April,
Yeah,
early enough that they feel comfortable.
Mhm.
And here again, we're working with the state, so,
Yeah.
and she even said, we have a small
Right.
group of people, and we have a lot of work.
right, right.
But it's a, ADA trail extension, which I'll show you when we take our walk out there. And it needed, because it was a, area of critical concern, we had to have it.
Yeah, it's a state
Yeah.
designated priority habitat,
Yeah.
and so there's,
So that's what-
species of special concern and that use that area as habitat. So any work that we do there
Mhm.
requires a review by natural heritage, just to ensure that there's no take
Yeah.
habitat
It's
species.
It's a sandplain grassland, sandplain heathland, so that's one of the rare and habitats on the Cape certainly and elsewhere. And the numbers of those are dwindling, so it requires special care.
We did find the 2 prickly pear cactuses that Bob had
Oh,
previously-
side?
previously documented. So I mean, they were sickly back when he found them years
Yeah.
back, and they still look quite sickly.
That's on the other side from,
Right.
from the trail.
Yeah.
But the good news, Andrew, is that we had a, CPA funding approved, so once we get this organized, we can go ahead and we have, some bids that are within that, limit.
Okay.
So we're ready to go, it's getting this piece.
Right.
So, and do you know what CPA is? Community Preservation Act? It's a surcharge on everybody's real estate
Right.
tax bill, a 3%.
Right.
That is matched, a piece of it's matched by the state every year. So there's funds to go to projects like open space, recreation, historic preservation, and affordable housing. So we represent any open space projects, and we applied for and got funds for this. So.
In this upcoming town meeting, we've got a project for kiosks that would,
Kiosks at Wiley Park, yeah. But if we, if there comes up a big chunk of land for sale that's worth working with housing or whatever. There's a few left in Eastham that we would hope to work with the groups to get CPA funds, but again, dealing with even town government, the sellers need to be patient because it takes a year of applying in the funds. So the sooner you talk with people about that idea, the better that they're willing to give it the time it takes. But I'm the representative from Open Space to the Community Preservation Act Committee, CPA. So when I go off this committee, or if anyone's interested in learning about the CPA, it is really fascinating and not much work. I mean, in terms of meeting it and, so in your free time, if you need more stuff,
I'm sure down.
CPA, yeah, Community Preservation Act.
All right, now on the trailhead sign, last, my notes here. Rob and I met and we were talking about the map. Was it a Google map, and you're gonna work with Paul in the center?
Yep, I'm gonna meet with Paul early next week.
Oh, you have a meeting with Paul.
And we'll discuss that map. Francis, Rob and I met just to discuss what we want to depict on that map, and this is for Sandy Meadow. And we'll have parking, we'll have the trail, the ADA trail, the vistas. And I think I've got my notes.
The-
in the office.
The benches that aren't there yet,
Well,
eventually.
yeah, I don't know.
Do-
I don't know if we actually had those on that
We
map.
didn't have the.
We didn't have
benches.
those,
Yeah,
but we had the trail extension, because we know the trail.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So we did that.
Right.
The other sign's up? Yeah.
No, not yet.
no,
We were
Okay.
waiting to see if we could maybe.
we're
put three up.
bundling, we're also bundling that into the state's review of the ADA trail.
Okay, because so the big signs will get installed but it's,
Yeah.
it's
The
exciting.
signs, yeah, the signs.
Yeah.
are
Working on this
off
for
to the
a
side,
few years.
So maybe they can have.
Yeah.
A separate determination. On the state rather than the trail too.
Right, but we wanted the trail to go in first before the signs, correct?
Correct.
Well, we really. want
Well,
to-
No, you-
Contemporaneously, so if the trail's going in, the signs could go in
Yeah,
as part of that work.
Well, I think the goal is for the signs this spring.
This, yeah,
but
but
you
you
don't
have-
Right,
Yeah,
right,
but
so if we have,
away from that 15 feet.
Right.
You know, even if we have. to.
right. So if the ADA piece does get delayed, we should go ahead with
Sure.
installing the signs that are,
And even talk to the state about, because the whole is how big. What,
yeah.
yeah,
yeah, but I think they'd be concerned maybe a little bit about the foot traffic around the sign is all. But I don't think it should be a big issue.
Yeah, I mean, that was to be
That's
discussed
the
and
hope,
you know, how you would. do this.
CPA funds also
That's always
pay
the
for
concern.
the signs,
Yeah, so-
which aren't there yet, but they've been.
All right.
Yeah.
Is it, who did the
Fossil.
fossil
Also
design?
graphics.
Supply all the
And-
photo, you know, the stuff and the text. but they put it
we
in.
also
A correction that, Michelle and Karen helped me with, on the, trail description there.
Mhm.
Did that get changed on the,
Mhm.
I haven't made that change.
so before anything's finalized, we worked on that, rewording that sentence.
Mhm.
There's an email with it, and I can, if you can't get it easily, I'll have it in my notes.
The remaining open space is to be maintained to preserve and protect rare habitat and wildlife, as well as to provide passive recreation.
That's the sentence we want. Put into that last sentence, which was a little wonky.
Okay.
Um,
We also talked about adding the 2 additional pictures to the
Yeah.
the sign as well.
From Bob Cook. You were talking to him about.
Talked to
putting
Bob
some
Cook,
of those pictures.
You know, he has it was the species of flower and species of moth. He said those are extremely rare on the property. It might be worth
Putting
using
something
something
that's
else.
actually there that we can find.
Right, so we do have, we also have spotted wintergreen. That's pretty common, and then the sensitive fern as well.
Okay, I think going. with
Yeah,
Because the people that go there want to see something that they're gonna see.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be fun to put the Pipsissewa on the sign,
Yeah,
just because that's a fun word to say.
What's the word?
Pipsissewa, the spotted wintergreen is striped wintergreen is Pipsissewa.
yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Spell that.
so you're gonna do that.
So I can do that, yeah.
I'm not
And I've
wearing
got the
hearing
pictures
aids,
on
can
it.
you
So,
tell?
so our just because this got to be a big issue, are Bob's photos of sufficient resolution?
So with the spotted wintergreen and the sensitive fern, those would be pictures that I took with my phone.
Hmm.
We also have credits for the stock image website too. If I find a better image there, I could certainly use one of those. But I kind of liked the idea of using an image from the property itself.
Yeah.
And they came
Yeah.
out, and I've used a couple images from my phone for the signs that were already made, and it was fine
They
resolution.
went through fine,
Yeah.
because they were on the
Okay.
ones that are done.
Mhm.
Okay, so next week is with Paul, is that the last week of, March?
March, yeah.
Okay, so then you can call a meeting. Rob can come in and ask somebody else from the meeting to come in, because I won't be here. in the
Okay.
month of April,
Okay,
to, review it before you submit it to,
awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly,
so then we'll
Oh,
go.
I'd like to volunteer for that if
okay,
you
Yeah.
guys-
There you go.
yeah,
Okay.
I'll send it out,
Yeah, well, Rob should be involved because he's in the whole process.
right,
Yeah, so probably by mid-April,
yeah,
that would be going.
Yeah.
And that'd be terrific. Then we'll have all three.
all three signs.
Way to go. Way to go.
Yeah, it'll be nice.
Yeah, it'll be nice. Yeah, it would be smart for you to go, Karen, too, because you have a background on this. All right, so that's the Higgins. Okay, now. This next part, the website trail map updating, we're working on. Updating the website on the town properties that we have, making it more user friendly, giving more information, and then updating the maps. And we've added a lot of directional arrows on the trails to help people. We're working on education so that people understand why we're conserving these properties and what's
Yeah.
important about them. All right, on Higgins, when we went there to look on that trail, we were talking about the disputed boundary line, and Alex, I have down that the first step would be you were gonna look for the deed. Check.
For the deed. I don't have an update on that.
Okay, so that could be ongoing, because that
Yeah.
was before we. There's a possibility we may ask for a survey, but we want to look at the deed first. That needs to be, that's the first step.
Would be really nice is if the private abutter would donate his land to us. That would make this all moot, but that's unlikely to happen.
Video.
Has somebody asked,
Yeah.
or is that somebody we should add to our list? Because
Probably.
Francis, Michelle, and I
Right.
met, and we'll meet again on how to approach these people.
Have
Should we add that one to our priority list?
the address?
There's a long history with the town and this owner, so Jackie BB would,
Mhm.
someone would need to probably get up to date from what
Yeah.
their information is.
Yeah, we're planning on meeting with Jackie once we get all our ducks in a row.
Yeah, she's very familiar with that property.
Yeah. Okay, so Linda, you're gonna schedule. A site visit to East Dam Conservation to install the red markers. You're waiting for balmy weather, if I remember correctly.
I was waiting for balmy weather, which hasn't
It came and
happened.
went, there was one day.
The balmy day.
Compared to 2 degrees.
I have not scheduled it.
Okay,
It's to be
so-
scheduled.
Yeah, so, okay, to be scheduled, and then Alex, you wanna schedule a, invasive removal project at Great Pond? And
Yeah, that's at the culvert project
Yeah.
that we were pulling
Yeah.
up. We,
Can you, maybe, or Karen, do you guys know what's going on there right now? And I had to wait, there's this huge truck going down the bike path. And the town DPW guys were holding up traffic and stuff. And I said, what's going on? And the guy from the town said, oh, there, something about the fire hydrants and the culvert between the two ponds. Do you know what's going on down there? with the
The culvert between Deborah's Pond and
Deborah's
Depot?
Pond and Herring Pond, yeah.
Oh,
Not Herring, not Herring. Yeah,
Depot.
Depot and,
Whatever that other.
I'm not sure.
What was that the boards? I know there was another phase from Brad Chase's project. Was that going to be? Also, the ECF letter from on the Herring Run stuff said that they had gone through in the past couple of days with AmeriCorps and cleaned some of these
Yeah.
runs out more.
yeah, they wouldn't have done
Yeah.
that one, but there was a,
One, well, that one just got cleaned by Brad Chase and the state.
Yeah, AmeriCorps was with Natural Resources weeks back.
okay. This
Yeah,
one was
'cause-
something to do with the water issues and fire hydrant and between the ponds, but he mentioned the culvert too, so.
They're flushing all the fire.
Oh,
We've seen that.
Maybe,
So
yeah,
Those out
Construction
now.
on a
okay.
house,
Because
right
there
along the
should.
bike path,
but they shouldn't be.
right there.
I know
Oh,
that,
That's the
yeah,
hatch.
that house, I know you
that's
guys
the
have reviewed.
hatch. Yeah.
It's
That-
the hatch.
I'm wondering if that.
That's not the access to construction on that house is not the bike path. It's the dirt road that's,
Mhm. Right.
so this vehicle was not going for private, this was with the DPW guys and anyway, so.
Anyway, there shouldn't be an issue with the culvert because work was done on it. It was really well cleaned and some what you might call sluice gates were replaced and so on by the state at their cost. Very recent.
Cleaning project to do.
You were approached by somebody.
So
from the
Adam
state.
Finkel, he's with the Woods Hole Group. And they were the firm that kind of oversaw that culvert project.
Mhm.
Stopped by maybe 2 weeks ago just to take a look at the site, and he says it looks great, but he suspects that come June, there'll be another opportunity to do some knotweed removal.
The knotweed, yeah, I gotta go
Yeah.
check my Mill Road project too. This will be year number 8,
Yeah,
Japanese.
So are we
knotweed.
gonna schedule it for June?
yeah, I know he asked if AmeriCorps can do it. I think given the scope of work and that, we were
Yes,
out
we
there in
can
the
do it.
fall, I think it's something
Yeah.
open space can certainly tackle.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
Successfully.
So I'm not sure if you wanted to schedule that now, or
Too far out, right?
we could
now.
just kind of
Keep it-
table that, keep that.
Keep that to the May meeting and schedule it.
All right.
then. Yeah, I think that. And, good.
Should we think about scheduling some maintenance on all the trails?
And they should have walkthroughs.
I have,
Natural Resource does a walk through. It's either late this month or sometime in April.
oh,
Not sure if that's for all the
Do they share
properties.
the information with you on the trails on our properties?
Not really.
Yeah, so
that's what we were gonna sort of
this,
set up with our little app.
Yeah,
Cottontail,
well-
Cottontail Meadow gets
Yeah.
mowed. Half of the meadow up there is the town open space. The other half is private,
mhm,
but the whole thing gets mowed, so I don't know who. I know Mike O'Connor goes up and mows
right.
the town half.
There's some other spots like, we could certainly tackle that.
Bluebirds are back. I mean, the bird boxes are up
At
there.
Cottontail.
You did one pass.
No
Yeah,
snow.
That's
yeah,
good.
we could-
Yeah, the ivy.
We did
the
do,
Ivy.
do a pass on that.
Do the cleanup too.
Did.
When's Earth
Um,
Day?
If there's some other invasive removal that we want to do along trails, I'm certainly happy to schedule that with you.
There's a small project on Higgins that has some multiflora. Autumn olive. Out
Yeah.
in that part that's a little bit close to the disputed area though.
Great,
And I had a question for you.
yeah.
Is the locust tree considered an invasive? Because the locusts are coming out where that tractor came through.
So my personal opinion is, yes, it is invasive.
Don't ask the Conservation Commission. You'll
everyone-
get an hour-long argument.
But it is a state listed species, and that's kind of that's what I go off.
But that.
Well, one species of locust, there's a couple of species of locust. One of them isn't state listed invasive. I think the other one is not.
Honey locust?
Yeah, So there's the
that's-
black locust and the honey locust.
Yeah, the honey locust is more of an ornamental, but the black locust is the
Mhm.
one that we typically see on our properties, and that one
It
is,
grows up in the first one to come in.
yeah, well, again, it
Yeah.
spreads through
Spreads
through the rhizomes.
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah, so it's been here almost as long as the Cape has, I think. So
So,
you'll have that argument from people as well, that it's the native.
But they make good osprey poles.
Great osprey poles. It's
Great
Just,
very-
just
it's a
harvested
great-
one off the Smith Farm Lane
It's
near
very
near you, Linda.
Mhm. It's very good wood, you know,
Others
for
property.
for projects,
Got a
and it's
nice,
really good.
For a new osprey pole off the Exeter Marsh.
If you were going to be farming or something, it's really great at capturing nitrogen. So it's good to plant next to it, but it also has really shallow roots and comes down quickly in hurricanes and storms. So Yeah.
Okay,
Right. Now the trail maps. I know Linda and Rob, and Kate were heavily organized on that. You have to sort of establish
We
that
do.
group, I
right, you
think,
do.
see where we are and
And
move forward on that.
Right.
So
I can take the lead on that, and maybe Andrew wants to join that group, the trail map piece, the part that Kate was doing.
Right, but I think, yeah, we've
We have
got
to
a lot of
regroup.
bits and pieces
We
in,
have
but
bits and pieces
we
and,
need to have a meeting where we sit down, what's been done.
right,
What are the next
exactly,
steps
right.
type meeting.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
So do you want, I can schedule that and maybe you want to join? We're trying to put together something like, I keep walking around, but something like what Orleans does with their trail maps.
Okay,
Their walking trails and stuff. I mean, other towns have it and we don't
Yeah.
have anything like this, but to put it on the website as well. So we had the member that you replaced was kind of leading on that. So we
Okay.
need to kind of regroup.
gotcha.
So Michelle, you will
Have-
schedule
I'll
something. in
schedule
April,
something
Yeah, and then.
and we,
Pick up where we
we
are.
can
We've
have a
got
subgroup.
A lot of pieces done. We have that draft of paragraphs we wrote, so there's
yeah,
a lot.
we have a lot of
work.
pieces.
We have a lot of pieces.
But we need Paul for some of it and he's really distracted on all this town warrant and everything else. So, but that's okay.
To give him, but at least we could come up with the Paul list, a very specific
Yes.
to-do list.
Yep.
That's what we need, very specific to-do list.
He did just sneak through, we should have grabbed him and
Oh,
locked him in.
well.
here, no?
He can't, he's got too much on his plate.
He does.
Just general idea, I think it's specific, like,
Yeah.
like.
yeah,
Alex has
The
a
map,
meeting
yeah.
specifically for that.
it would be nice if we could have a part-time GIS person in town that could help committees with this kind of work. But
A lot of good things that we wish for, Karen.
Not gonna happen.
I know, because Paul said I should go ask Cape Cod Commission for the GIS stuff I need to do, so.
Okay, okay. And then, so that's gonna be scheduled. The next mini committee is the land acquisition and outreach strategy group. Michelle, Karen and I met once. We reviewed, the priority parcel list. That's a list of properties in town that we consider, ecologically very important, habitat wise, environmental wise, so that if they ever came on the market, it would be something that we would want to urge the town to consider to, purchase or for the people to donate. No, it's all, but we do have a list like that. So we reviewed that. We talked about strategies that next meeting, we want to talk about strategies to approach landowners with.
Mhm.
Have to schedule that. And once we do some legwork on how we would reach out and be more proactive in looking at properties, then we will schedule a meeting with Jackie after town meeting to get the town's input. But we were trying to generate ideas and strategies that we would present.
Mhm.
Right?
Yep.
And.
Yeah.
So that's what the three of us are working on, and we have to schedule another meeting.
Are you gonna do that?
I can't.
And you're gone for April, so it's this,
Yeah, so, if you can meet next week, otherwise, you two to work without me.
How can we work without you?
Very,
Francis?
very, very, very easily, believe me.
Karen and I can meet probably. I can't do it next week.
Okay, so in
Yeah.
April, to get together in April, and
All right.
I did look at. If I see anything, and I did do a little set down once at the computer, looking at strategies for outreach, I'll forward them to you,
Okay.
so you'll have it for the meeting.
Mhm.
And invite us.
Yeah, and just one of the things, if we talk about specific privately owned pieces of land, one of the concerns is, it should be done in executive session, because if you mention a property is privately owned and it might come on the market, we don't, you can't influence, right? We are not a regulatory or a decision maker as far as purchasing properties, but it's easy to find these things, and developers can certainly find them as easily as we can.
Gotcha.
So, but when it gets to a point of actually approaching owners, it's sort of,
Fine line.
needs to be done carefully. It's not,
We should get Andrew a copy of the document and the criteria.
All right.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
send it to Andrew,
Thank you.
but as Joanna says, it's not a secret, anybody that looks at the maps can find them, but it's
Right.
confidential within the committee.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Send
and the
priority.
other thing, not that you don't have enough to, but the document that came out fairly recently, APCC working with the Affordable
Housing Assistance Corporation of Cape Cod,
Housing
HAC.
in the Cape Cod, came up with a, so here's what you should look for what makes most sense for protecting, for building houses, or doing both. And it's a really nice map of,
Oh, really?
what places make
Well,
sense to build
yeah.
things, or to smart development where you can, anyway, East Ham's on that map, and it's a good.
Well, yeah,
piece.
they also have some more details about how the work was done, and more information about East Ham specific. I'll send you a link, Andrew. It's Grow Smart Cape Cod.
Grow
Send
smart.
me a link too, Karen.
I'll send everybody the link.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Karen.
thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
No, it was just history of one of the things about the Community Preservation Act, which East Ham has had since, I think, 2004. Before that was Land Bank, was this perception that we compete. This should be housing, and this should. And in fact, East Ham's acquisitions for each, and there's never been one where they should have, that we shouldn't compete. We don't compete, but we can work together on some. So other places have had those issues come up where, it was a competition, and that's gotten a lot of press off Cape more so than on Cape. But it's important to have those conversations, so it's not feel like, gee, we do need housing, we know that. But
And we added that back into the strategic plan again
yeah.
for the next round. So
Yes, we did.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right, so I'll send you the materials that I have for reaching out to landowners.
Yes, do that. And Karen, let's get together. We'll find a
We'll
date.
find a date.
yeah,
Cool.
Okay, cool. And
Nice to
then,
meet you, Andrew.
Nice to meet you.
all right, the CR status is regarding, the well district on Nauset Road, the third well going in. And, CR is an abbreviation for a conservation restriction. And the town was going to apply for one on that property, and we're just monitoring it.
Yeah,
This is another thing that takes a few years to happen, but you gotta keep your eye on it. Because.
Right. This one that by putting in another well and town water issues, one of the requirements that I guess the state made was that the town has to protect something else, kind of you're messing this up, I shouldn't say messing it up for water, but so one of the trade-offs was they took 27, I think it's like 27 acres in that town forest area, and said, well, putting a conservation restriction on this as the trade-off, and it's going to be held by the East Ham Conservation Foundation, which is our little all volunteer land trust. I'm the clerk for that. Henry Lind is the president. So that was the trade-off, and they did everything except then, and it has to get approved by the state, and there's a big backlog, but also this parcel is a multiple parcels. And the lawyers, I guess lawyers, yes, have looked and said, how do we know where these lines are? And so it needs to be surveyed. This is another big delay
So
on it
that's where
getting
we are.
approved. So is it gonna be surveyed? Or,
I don't know the answer at this moment, but I know
Okay,
it's
yeah.
going forward. I think
it,
it's
it went up to the state and came back once already, but it's been since the beginning of working on it. It was pre-COVID. It was started pre-COVID. I know that.
Right.
So,
I think this was the one where Mark Robinson was contracted to manage
he did
it.
the he
He
did
did
the
the
well
well
with
one.
multiple,
The one
but he
that-
also did the well,
Did
he
he
was
do
doing
that
the
one?
well one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
And yeah, so he could, yeah.
Let
maybe-
me, I'll make note of that and I'll have a better update,
No,
better next week.
Yeah.
we'll put that on the calendar for next.
And
Isn't that part of the National Seashore though?
The town owns
Mm.
sections in the
Mm.
national.
Yes,
Seashore. You
there
would
was
think it is.
128
Well-
acres of town forest over there that was town. And that was where part of what East Ham's Ocean Beach, wanted to put parking lots and stuff there. So that, no, it's town owned, but surrounded by seashore.
Yeah.
And also some priority habitat and vernal pools and things
Right.
like that. Some rare species of moth.
So that's just an ongoing thing
Mm.
you'll be thinking about for a while. All right, well, that was that, and all the new business. Our departing member also ran the Facebook and Instagram accounts, which were more, photos posted of different activities that were going on or properties. And well, I know Rob was going to take over the Instagram. Both, okay. So Rob is taking over those. He's very connected social media wise, so it's a natural.
I don't have social media at all. So.
It's a natural fit for Rob to handle that.
And I'm the opposite. I'm not on any of those things and don't want to. So,
I just sent you, Francis, what I found on the deeds. So I
Oh,
sent you the
oh,
deed for
you did?
Chavez's property and then
Oh,
for the town
okay.
as well.
These are in reading though.
Mhm.
Is there anything that popped out or anything?
There were some use restrictions on Chavez's property, but I didn't see anything regarding any easements or anything like that.
So we'll have that to look at and discuss if we want to move forward asking the town for a survey.
For survey.
Okay, that's where we are on that. Okay, so that would be on your meeting in April. I contacted the IT department. We also had an idea, Andrew, that we have people coming and going in the committee, and there's a lot of pieces to the things we work on, as you can gather by this. So we're looking for a central place in town. Computers.
cloud,
To
town cloud.
Cloud, whatever. Have all this information, so somebody new in your position will come in and be able to access rather than me writing a note down to myself, send to Alan. So we want to have a conversation with the IT department to see if it's possible to set up an open space.
I'd be interested in that for the recycling committee because I have a lot of documents now as well.
Okay,
So
well,
when we sit down, I'm happy to help sit down.
okay, so I reached out to the IT committee and I didn't hear, but then she did send me, they've been extremely busy because the town's phone system was moving over.
Yeah, we just.
So then she said, I will get back to you after March 17th. She was just straight out. So
Yeah.
starting the conversation, well, when I have a meeting with her, with what we want. And then what the town could do for us.
So maybe you could.
Yeah, so I would
Join in
contact
that
you
meeting.
if I have that,
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, because there's,
My computer skills are,
one of the folders in there should be the history of
yeah.
Sandy Meadow.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
Well, Bob's files.
Bob Cook files that
I
go
mean,
way
there's a-
back.
There's
and-
a lot of
There's
files
a-
we need.
Right, and
So
things
we-
will come up and it'll ring some bell, because I've been on the open space committee for a long time, and say, wait. There's notes on all of this from 2007.
Well, I think after we
Outside
had
knowledge.
Yeah, it
The,
is. It's,
after the initial meeting with Sharice to see if this is something indeed gonna help us with, then we'll generate an open space a
Yeah.
list of things, because I certainly don't remember everything,
Mhm.
but that.
and I'm trying to get rid of I have stuff, CDs from
Yeah.
Bob,
Okay.
like.
Oh.
What's on here? And a Bob Cook, there's, yeah,
Mhm.
the Sandy Meadow
Right,
stuff.
right,
Like,
yeah.
I'm not even gonna put this in my computer. It'll get stuck and won't come out. Um,
I don't even have a CD drive anymore in my computer.
Yeah, I know, they don't work in my computer. anymore, but,
But I do have Bob's files on a thumb drive, and I'm happy to pass that around
Yeah,
if
that would
anybody.
be something, because
Mm.
Bob Cook you've heard the name now 5 times. He's a retired
He was,
ecologist for these national seashore, what is he?
You wear a hat, glasses.
Biologist.
no
Biologist,
beard.
no beard, a wealth of
Yeah.
How
knowledge.
about the town meeting, like last town meeting?
He probably did.
Because I remember a guy talking, an ecologist talking here, and there was a lawyer guy and an ecologist guy that both talked to the town meeting. I'm good with faces, terrible with names.
He could have easily spoken because he is very articulate and likes to share his opinions, and he knows a lot. So we treasure
Yeah.
we treasure his files because there's a lot of science in it and a lot of
I'm a
history.
scientist, so,
And he's a meticulous, well, you think of chemistry background,
yeah, physics as well.
physics as
I
well.
have a forensic science degree and
Yeah.
math.
Forensic science?
Oh, so he was meticulous in record keeping, so,
Yeah.
and,
He
so
is an
you'd be interested
amphibian
in looking at these
expert.
files
If you
too.
go out one of these rainy nights with Bob, you will learn more than you ever thought was possible about spadefoot toads and species and
Right, it's amazing.
Yeah, I
he-
learned all about spermatophores.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Well, I know everything is interesting, but how he can keep it all in his brain and just have it there to talk.
Yeah,
Another piece of old business while I'm looking at this is, it worked for me when I took the walk at Higgins and there was a tree across the path and I sent you the picture.
Yes,
You got that?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay, good.
we are moving over to a new software. We're moving away from People Forms to another software called OpenGov. I'm gonna see if there's a way for us to just move our
Slide it
folder
over.
into OpenGov. Actually, just replicate it in a different.
Hopefully that works.
Yeah, so I'm gonna talk with Kayla about that. We just got all of our permitting forms for conservation. So that took quite a bit of time, but now that we have that more or less finalized, we could kind of focus on open space as well.
Cool,
So-
that would be great. I didn't do anything about that tree, because I was gonna walk out to see if it was still there. And actually, my husband and I could probably move it. But I wanted to
What's
see,
the diameter?
like that. You could drag it.
Okay,
But I just wanted to see the process, if it would get there,
Yeah.
and the pictures came in.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll keep you posted on the OpenGov.
When that is transferred, let's wait off on Andrew, and then we'll get it on Andrew, just you have a cell phone? Okay.
Yeah.
And, well, that we're starting this, we have this app developed where you can walk the trails, and then you send some information that you see. And I sent him that there was a tree across the path, and I took a picture, and it did get there, so.
Like a monitoring form.
It's a
Okay.
monitoring. So we just developed there just. There doesn't seem to be many bugs that we've been working with it a little bit. It
Yeah.
seems to be pretty straightforward.
Mhm.
So we'll get that on, but might as well wait to the new
Okay.
system rather than.
So we'll have that on the agenda for next month. I'll kind of. I'll have
Okay.
a better update then.
So that kind of reminds me that all of you who have been out doing some field work for the committee have signed waivers. And maybe you need to get one for Andrew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get Andrew a waiver as well.
Did we all do that?
Yeah, we did it once, just in the meeting, you brought it in, you signed away all your.
I did?
Property,
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, Kate
Good.
had shared an electronic version of it as well. I haven't signed it yet because I haven't been.
oh, well, we did it,
But-
we did it right
Yeah,
here.
you all did it. You all did it.
Yeah.
All right.
Update on, okay, monitoring app. Okay, that's on for next week, next month. Update on the monitoring app. Keep going on these other issues we've talked about. Anything else you want to bring up that we should discuss?
There are frozen chopped clams and mackerel next door in the freezer. And even though the power went out briefly, it didn't go out long enough to worry about it. So if you need frozen chopped clams, stop over before you
I'm
go.
gonna get some.
Yeah.
That was a very important update announcement.
Mhm.
Anything else, Karen? We're all
No,
set? Great, all right,
Oh,
so,
Conservation Commission still has an opening and will have an extra opening at the end of June. So please pass that along to everybody you know.
Who's going off?
Mike,
Ah, okay.
you're re-upping on this.
Yeah.
Want to join the commission?
Let me think.
You have to stay up past 7 p.m.
yeah, so Linda, if you want to talk about it, give me a call.
I think I could do that once a month.
Twice.
It's
It's
twice a
twice-
month.
It's twice a month and
And they do Field
and
trips.
site visits
I could
Yeah.
do that.
and we have free training that you can do from your own computer at home. Really good training.
Think about it.
I'll think
Anyway,
about it.
think about it. Call me
next
if you want to talk about it and I will give you all the dirt.
Can I knock on your door at your house?
Sure, but yeah, absolutely.
Well, no, I
Come
won't do
in. No. Come and sit in the living room and we'll talk. Whatever you want.
Right.
All right,
All right.
now, Andrew, normally we meet the third Wednesday. But there was a conflict with me and Joanna.
I'm
So it's me and vice
the
chair.
sub chief. No, co-chair. No, vice chair. Chief.
Soon to be. Okay,
So
it's
April
23rd, which is not the third, it's the fourth.
4th.
It's at
Yes.
2:30 here.
Yeah.
And Joanna will lead the meeting. I won't be here. I'm gonna post an agenda, so, writing down the notes here, and if something else comes up, I'll get that in. And get that posted and sent out to everybody, because I'll have my, access to my computer. So I'll send that out the week,
This is
before. Usually I
April
send,
23rd.
usually I send it out the week before,
April. Something.
the 23rd,
Yeah, 22 open, I'm saying.
great, all right. And. All right, so, do I have?
Motion to adjourn?
Second, please.
Second,
Okay, Francis,
3:23.
yes. All in favor, yes.
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 Okay,